Roseanne. So I think they did something in a way quite clever. In the Roseanne is a show where, forgetting internet, forgetting DVDs, there are a lot of people that are potentially too young for Roseanne. Admittedly, there'll be people that do remember it. I know of Roseanne. I know of how it ended because I've heard that talked about a lot. I know about the last season. And so, but other than that, I've not really seen clips. I don't really know anything about it. This trailer isn't a trailer at all. It's going, this is why this show was popular. And it's key scenes, and it's saying that it did this and did this for culture and all that stuff and was outrageous, blah, blah, blah. And those clips made me go, oh, this, I can see from these clips what this show meant and what it did. So I guess that kind of makes me excited for its return. I was also, admittedly though, more because I even messaged you and I was like, messaged Dan and was like, the Roseanne thing has me kind of excited because obviously her and Trump have this big kind of thing, and whether she incorporates that into the show, I think will be interesting. There's been a lot of changes to the things that she was discussing at the time, and so whether those are addressed in seeing that family updated and where they are now with the world is kind of interesting. I was mainly fascinated, though, for those that don't know, the final season of Roseanne went batshit crazy. They won the lottery. All sorts of stuff happened. And then it turned out that it was her writing it all fictitiously because actually what happened was John Goodman's character had died and none of the entire last season was real. And I was kind of intrigued about...
It was like her, if memory serves, it was her sort of like fantasy because she went into a bit of a spiral after the Dan character died. That's John Goodman's character.
Yes.
And she'd written it.
It was her way of dealing with it.
Her way of dealing with it was the fictitious season we just got. Yeah. Did they've clarified if they're addressing that or not?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Oh, you're getting to it. Okay.
So
I wasn't sure if you knew yet. Okay, fine. Carry on.
Yeah. So I was quite excited about how they were going to deal with that, like, and whether it would be a big joke or what they would do. And they basically come out and said they're going to ignore it. And I think that's a bit cheap. And I think you did that. You and it's not. I'm not criticizing. It's not the only show that it's not the only major US sitcom that had an ending that made people angry. Cough, Seinfeld, cough. So, like, it's fine, but to just ignore it, and maybe they'll make a joke of it, I guess, but, like, they've come out and said they're ignoring it, and that's made me less excited, and that's made me like, oh, well, I was quite intrigued before, but now I'm just like,
Don't you have to honour it? Don't you have to respect that it happened? Like, if you're saying this show was a seminal thing, that bold ending is as much a part of that show's history as anything else. Whether you didn't like it, whether you liked it, to me, it is one of the boldest endings in television history. Weird as it is and out of place as it seems, how brave for the writers to just do that. That's insanity. You're absolutely right. And I respect it deeply because it's a very, very specific creative choice that they went with, committed to, executed, like it or not. That is... like I said, the braver choice in this situation. And for those of you going, yeah, but Dan, you didn't like the How I Met Your Mother fan. Would you not say that was a brave one? No, that was a stupid one. There's a difference between brave and stupid. In fact, they were the opposite of brave, because the brave thing to do in the How I Met Your Mother situation would have been to just go with what you were doing anyway. But carry on. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, go on.
Can I interject with How I Met Your Mother? Because there was also a, I think someone at the network said they'd bring it back if people wanted to. And in this discussion, I agree with you. The ending was awful, but if they were bringing it back, I would want them to stick to it. I wouldn't want them to rewrite the ending. Correct. And actually, given the choice between How I Met Your Mother or Friends, and this is going to cause uproar, I'd rather bring How I Met Your Mother back because I'd rather see them justify that ending more. I'd rather see more of Ted and the mother together. I'd rather see scenes of the mother getting on with Robin, and maybe at the end she even hints that she would be okay with it. Like... do something that justifies that ending. So even an ending that made me monstrously angry, I would still want them to honour if they were coming back.
Agreed. So for me, I'm looking at the Roseanne situation and going, I don't know if that's... I think ultimately what's happened is they've gone, we want to bring John Goodman back because it's not Roseanne without him, but we killed him because we didn't make Roseanne in the culture of everything gets a revival eventually. So what the fuck do we do? Because how do you explain it? Do you say, no,
Yeah.
that was her writing a show about her writing a show? Like, how do you get him to be alive again? Like, you're stuck. So their options were very slim. So I appreciate the situation they're in. Because I'm sure one of the network's caveats when she came, I'm sure she went to the network. There's no way the network were reaching out for more Roseanne, but I reckon she went in and pitched, and they were like, "Well, John Goodman on board because it's John Goodman," and they didn't know what to do, so they just. I mean, how else would you do it, Chris? Legitimately, in a situation where you and I both acknowledge that there's no way you can't have John Goodman. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I ultimately agree with you. I think it's really cheap to ignore it. But genuinely, though, how else do you get around it? Because I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. You go fully ridiculous and you spoof Dallas and you have her wake up a bit hazy and she goes into the bathroom and she pulls back the shower curtain and John Goodman is in the shower. And, like, don't cheat it. Do it verbatim. So John Goodman is topless, lathering himself up and he just turns around and he's like, hey. And then she's like, I had the weirdest dream ever. And then that's it. And I know that's sort of cheating.
No, you're right. That's it. That's the answer. It's that simple, isn't it? Because it both ignores it and honors it all at once. That's actually the perfect middle ground. You're right. That's way better. Are you in though? Are you watching this? Are you not watching this?
I'm still ultimately too intrigued to not be in. So
I'm into it. I'm into it. For a bit of context, Roseanne very much fits into the same category as Will and Grace for me. It's a show I saw many episodes in reruns, but never watched. Season through season.
I think as a kid, I was way more honouring your model now of unless I can catch up on all of it, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, so when I was the thing is that when I was a kid, there were just so many of these shows, I just couldn't keep up with them.
Because I've never
so many
seen
American sitcoms, and I just I devour them all, but with no rhyme or reason. Just find them and watch them.
They all aired on Channel 4, and I've never watched. There's a bunch of them. Frasier, Everybody Loves Raymond,
Caroline in the City.
I'm sure I'd enjoy them. Yeah, Caroline in the City, another Spin City.
Yeah,
and Spin City, Christ! I mean, Michael J. Fox,
these
there
are
are
all
reasons to watch that. Big fan.
These are all sitcoms that had, despite me and Chris being a little bit young to have watched them, got to watch because even though they'd been and gone by the time we were becoming television fans as quite young people, they were in syndication on Channel 4 in the UK, and once I got into Friends, I was just willing to devour any American sitcom I could find. And Spin City, Caroline in the City, Roseanne, even eventually towards the end of that tenure, Everybody Loves Raymond. These are all shows. Frasier, I just watched tons of episodes of. Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Don't know why I ended up watching that one.
King of Queens.
Yeah, sure.
There was the one exception I made actually to because all of those shows you're just naming I could have watched but just didn't because I couldn't catch up and see them all. The exception, the one that I watched whenever it was on Comedy Central reruns, was Different Strokes. What a joy!